your video if you know you are in an environment where you want us to see the background, or if you know that you've put some refreshers on your face and that face is looking delicious to eat. So please just kindly adhere to the rules of the program. Sorry, let me check if Engineer Zansi is back.
Engineer Nkechi Sigwe, the second president of APWENE. You are welcome, ma'am. Engineer Kule Adebajo, the chairman of OVEROP. Engineer Margaret Oguntala, a council member of Koren, and a 3-time vice president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Engineer Yetunde Followe, the chairman of Women in Engineering of WFEO, and the chapter chairman that are here, the chairman of Lagos, Engineer Mary Apollo, the chairman of Engineer Nike Gumbono. I welcome you all, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good morning once again. I'm trying to see if people can just mute themselves. Okay. Yeah, thank you, everyone. I think this is a topic that is apt in this nation. Energy use in energy poverty. And it's something that is like the person who is going to speak, coming up with a kind of topic like this. It's up to me because we are in a nation where we have the resources, even personnel, everything required to generate electricity in abundance. And I think we even give electricity to some neighboring countries. But we in Nigeria, we actually live in electricity poverty. I'll use the word electricity. I know the energy encompasses so many things that I think affects us a lot more. It's absolutely normal, to have power cuts in Nigeria, even for long periods of time. And it's kind of abnormal not to have a generator or something that can give you power on the site. So that's why I think that what we are going to learn today is a topic that is apt for the condition that our nation is. And I expect that I'm going to learn something about how to use energy. I believe that's what she'll be talking about, and much of it. So I will once again for coming and good deliberation today. Thank you. Moderator Engineer Zansi, I'm done.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you, Ma. You have laid the tracks. We are ready. I have my pen. I have my jotter here. There's so much to learn about energy use in Nigeria, and from such an astute speaker. I'm not even going to go deep into her profile because I'm going to welcome Engineer Umu to come and read the profile of our speaker. Engineer Umu, can you unmute yourself, please? I've seen you. Let me just. Okay, over to you, Engineer Umu. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Engineer Umu Tajo. All protocols duly observed. I would like to welcome everyone to our BestCom e-learning platform for the Association of Professional Women Engineers. Please, I want to introduce our guest speaker, Engineer Mrs. Funmilayo Olutunbi Kadri, FNSE. Engineer Funmilayo Kadri is a 1980 graduate of Electrical Electronics Engineering from Queen Mary College, University of London. Her NYSC years was Nigerian External Telecommunications Service, NET, Marina, Lagos. Due to her diligence, she was offered a job with LM Ericsson Nigerian Limited and resumed there on completion of her youth service. While at Ericsson, she met with long-life mentor, engineer Mrs. Olumaduka FNSE FAENG, and together with 4 other courageous women, they founded the Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria, APWENE, 38 years ago. She served as APWENE as its 2nd General Secretary. An experienced electrical engineer who has worked in consultancy and contracting. She has developed management skills, running various businesses. She's a director of Nagify Limited, a startup energy company specializing in power solutions. She is also a director of AKWENE Engineering Limited, a multidisciplinary engineering outfit in Lagos, and has interest in other ventures. Engineer Funmilayo Kadri is a current registered engineer and a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. She has served the Nigerian Society of Engineers in various capacities and different committees of the Council and the ESCO of the Electrical Division of Nigerian Society of Engineers. The NIEEE, she is also a member of the Nigerian Institution of Environmental Engineers. A serial entrepreneur, she presently serves as pioneer chairperson of Business Entrepreneurship and Social Entrepreneurship Committee, BESCO, of Association of Professional Women Engineers, APWENE. She led the committee with passion and commitment. Engineer Funmilayo Kadri loves to work with young people of all ages, though an unpretending disciplinarian, and is a STEM advocate, inspiring both males and females to take up science and engineering as a career. Engineer Mrs. Kadri believes that the profession and in particular engineering needs women as the workforce and in key decision-making positions in the millennium world, more than ever before, in order to deliver innovative value-adding solutions to sustainable development. Please, I welcome Engineer Funmilayo Kadri, our special guest speaker. You are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Umu. It is a distinct honor and privilege for me to be delivering this presentation today. I truly appreciate my president. I appreciate my colleagues who are online, in particular the MD of AKW Engineering Limited. I recognize all the special people. Let me go on, because if I started recognizing people, we won't start today. So I would like to share my screen now. Thank you. So my mouse is a bit sticky, but I hope that it will cooperate with us today. Thank you. The topic energy using energy poverty. And we say energy because that basically, electricity is basically the one energy that we use for most things now. And I will start with, I'm sorry, this is the first time I'm actually doing a presentation on this system. I've been having meetings where I've never had to make presentations on it. We have different topics that we're going to be covering. We have, we're going to look at the SDG 7, energy access, energy poverty, briefly as energy audit and energy management systems, energy efficiency, energy conservation, and energy savings. I have to move this thing out of the way, then I can make it smaller. It's getting in my way. Thank you. The Sustainable Development Goals are 17 goals which the UN developed to transform our world. And the 7th goal, SDG 7, is to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. This is because well-established and maintained energy systems support all sectors of modern living, including education, business, the environment, agriculture, communications, and safe, stable communities. Is I want to come out of this so that I can look at my slides myself. We're going to start by looking at energy access. The International Energy Agency, which is the global standard setting body, defines modern energy access as 50 kilowatt hours per person per year in rural settings, which is enough to run lights for a few hours per day and charge a cell phone. You cannot power a fridge or other appliances. Another indicator is the number of electrified homes. And the third one is the lack of access. I need to mention that lack of access hinders industrial and commercial productivity, competitiveness, and growth. As I said, the main indicator for tracking SDG 7 is the number of electrified homes. Achieving 100% of this access is commendable. However, the statistics show that residential electricity accounts for only about 5% of global energy consumption. What this means is that after basic household access has been achieved, we have only just scratched the surface of our energy problem. We will have lights, but what about energy for use in industry, commerce, and agriculture? This is a picture of access that Nigeria and Ghana have. And I'm going to be using Ghana to make some comments, since we speak the same language and we're very similar in a lot of things. You can see from here that Ghana has 83.5% access as of 2019 and Nigeria 55.4% access. We have this information. Ghana is an energy access success according to SDG 7. Its access rate is already at 85% now, and the country should approach universal access soon. Nigeria, on the other hand, has apparently reached about 55% energy access in urban populations, so we are only halfway there. Please keep this in mind as we go. Remember, Nigeria has 55% access and Ghana has 85% access. It's going to be affecting what we are discussing as we go. I would like us to ask ourselves, for some of us, we know what energy poverty is, but I want to remind us what it is. It is lack of access. It is lack of access to sustainable modern energy services and products. And energy poverty can also be more precisely defined as a lack of adequate, affordable, reliable, quality, safe, and environmentally sound energy services to support development. To support development. We should keep that in mind. We can add that energy poverty is also the inability to pay for necessary energy requirement. Now let us go back to the previous graph that we were looking at and consider something interesting here. We said that Ghana is an energy access success, according to SDG 7. Its access rate is already at 85%, and the country should approach universal access soon. However, if you ask a typical Ghanaian business owner about the power sector, they would say it's a disaster. Outages are so common, they have a phrase for it, domso, and tariffs are now 23 cents per unit, which is among the world's highest prices for electricity. In Ghana, there is access, but it is unreliable and extremely costly. Can we say that Ghanaians have access to adequate, affordable, reliable, sustainable modern energy? Where there is access, which is unreliable and costly, you have energy poverty. And we also remember that Nigeria has reached about 55% energy access in urban populations. I want you to know that Nigeria has relatively low electricity prices of 7 cents per unit. Compared to Ghana and some other countries, it's very low. But business owners in Nigeria report that they need to use generators nearly 60% of the time at a cost which is more than 35 cents per unit. So note this, in Nigeria, we have about 55% access, low prices, and 40% reliability. Energy poverty downgrades lives. Energy poverty makes competition difficult for Nigerian products. These are the effects of energy poverty. Energy poverty also, we believe, and that's why I put a question by it, some of us believe that energy poverty causes high tariff as too many people are chasing few energy opportunities. And a fourth effect that we feel is ineffective regulations. We have ineffective regulations due to high demand and few options. From what I have said up to now, you will realize that Africa's energy poverty is staggering. But this is another piece of information for you. If what you see here actually includes some other parts of the world. We have Haiti, Niger, Jamaica, Ghana, Costa Rica, Nigeria. If you look at this in terms of energy consumption, which is different to energy access, Nigeria does better than Ghana. Nigeria is bigger and obviously we need more. But here I just want to show you that it's not a Nigerian only problem. Africa's energy poverty is staggering. In countries across sub-Saharan Africa, the average person consumes less than 200 units of electricity per year, which is less than what is needed to power an ordinary American fridge. Californians use more electricity playing video games than the entire country of Kenya. You can see that just there. Now, where's let me use my indicator. You can see that here. This is what they use to play video games. This is what Nigeria consumes as a whole. This is what Kenya consumes. We don't even need to go beyond that. As the global community ramps up efforts to address climate change, we cannot ignore these disparities. Now, I want us to look at the electric power consumption per capita in some nations. per capita is power. Here is Nigeria. The figures are right here. These are 2014 figures. But by 2020, I believe we have risen to 200 units. This is it. This is South Africa, which is the most developed in Africa. You saw that the gaming, what the US in California used to play games, just video games. They consume more than what we are consuming. According to the International Energy Agency, it says that in order to lift people from poverty, energy access is fundamental in reducing poverty and improving health, increasing productivity, and all that. Now, if energy poverty impoverishes a nation and hinders industrial and commercial productivity, is it not obvious that the paltry 50 kilowatts hours per person per year is ridiculous because it only runs lights? How are we going to take care of the production part? Regardless of the low cost of energy in Nigeria at about 7 cents, as we saw. And with 40% reliability. Remember, 7 cents per unit and 40% reliability. How are companies in Nigeria supposed to compete with other countries? And the country that I have in mind is Vietnam. We have a similar energy cost, 7 cents per unit, and a reliability of about 99%. Nigeria has a severe energy poverty problem. Look at these few key indicators here. Our installed capacity is 16 gigawatts. And if we divide that by the population, that is 82 megawatts. 82 watts, sorry, megawatts per million population. But the megawatts we have in operation is 3,800 out of an installed capacity. I'm sorry, have you been seeing my application before? Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Hello, ma. We can hear you, ma.
Okay, something just popped up that said people can see my application now. Anyway, so we have 3,800 megawatts in operation out of an installed capacity of 16,384. So as a percentage of installed capacity, we're only sending out 23 less than a quarter of our installed capacity. And our per capita consumption is 200 units. Now, what people tend to do is to get generators. And the self-generated consumption is 368% of the grid-generated consumption, almost 4 times. So the energy gap is very great. We need 4 times, more than 4 times what we need now to even be anywhere close to where we should be. Clearly, there's simply not enough energy. Our daily power generation has hovered between an average of 3,500 megawatts and barely 4,000 watts in the past months. As of last Saturday, July 17, 2021, the highest power generated was 4,823 megawatts, while the lowest was 3,031 megawatts, according to the Transmission Company of Nigeria. in their available daily record. And that is after over 4 trillion naira intervention has been put into the power system. Over 4 trillion naira of interventions was supposed to get us out of this. But we are still hovering at around 4,000. Clearly, there simply is not enough energy generated to go round. And supplementing with dirty diesel and petrol generators is expensive, apart from the carbon emissions. I agree that solar home systems, standalone grids, and mini grids are being implemented in rural areas and in urban healthcare centers. But that is only part of the solution. It will not add to economic productivity and competitiveness. Recently, I discovered that the journey to sufficiency in electricity generation has become not so imminent after all. I understand there's a hiccup in the Siemens project, and I can only hope and pray that it will be resolved before too long. I don't want to even start about metering. That is an issue that really, really gets up my nose, but I'm going to calm down about that. It continues to be elusive. How difficult is it to meter people? Anyway, when we look at the Nigerian energy situation by the few indicators in this table, the figures speak for themselves. We have a severe energy poverty problem. But the paradox here is that we are experiencing energy poverty in an energy-rich Nigeria. Our energy, our gas reserves, our oil reserves, I mean, we're flaring gas every day when we could be putting that gas to use, good use in getting what we want. So the giant of Africa, we are the giant, and I put it in quotes. But I'll tell you the truth, across Africa, nearly all people live in energy poverty. Energy is too costly, too unreliable, or simply unavailable. The giant of Africa should not be in this position, but we are where we are. Ladies and gentlemen, professional colleagues, we have an energy poverty problem, a massive one. We all know it. And as engineers, we know that we cannot just fold our hands as we continue to go in this deep energy poverty. Our problem is a generation, transmission, and distribution problem, and maybe metering, like I mentioned before. And I want to encourage us that while the major players are chewing each other up, I suggest that we should have a plan of action for a way forward for you and for me. We need to proceed to maximize the little we have for now. And the way to do that is by employing energy efficient practices. And I know that the way we waste, you know, one thing that that I have noticed, this is an aside now. If you've gone to a party, there's some parties that you go to the party, you've had a meal, you've even had dessert, and then for the next 3 hours, every 30 minutes, a food vendor who is fully paid and has made the food is coming to your table to ask you, would you like to have this? Whether it's dundu and or it is some ice cream or you know everything. And I have seen people accept everything, take a bit of each, and pile plates on their table. We are very wasteful of everything. I see people wasting water. You see a pipe in the middle of the road. This is an aside, but I'm trying to get us to begin to understand why we need to change our behavior in this area. We need to change. We need to begin to realize that we need to help ourselves. We need to change how we do things. And so we want to move on from here by encouraging energy audits, especially in commerce and industry. But a homeowner can also have an energy audit. And what is an energy audit? It is simply a review of energy consumed in a particular location and used to find the inefficiencies in the system. And I think that's pretty easy. You and I can go around. We can do a walkthrough audit in our homes, see where things are not quite right. Maybe we see that we have too many of this. We still have incandescent bulbs and all that, but we'll come to those things later. It's not my job to do this. A proper energy audit meeting seminar will take care of that. And with the energy audit, the first step to identify the improvements that need to be made in order to increase energy efficiency. And once the faults in the energy systems are recognized, they can be corrected. This leads to energy saving, which ends up as a decreased energy bill and improved efficiency. In other words, we can begin to benefit from energy optimization practices, even in an energy poor system, by embarking on an energy audit. Whether it is a commercial building, business premises, or production facility, including factories, large-scale farming, agricultural production, the audit of such should be left to energy auditors who are professionals. They'll be able to tell you about ISO 50000 and ISO 50001. I hope, and from your energy audit, you might find that it is necessary, and you will find that it is necessary for you to proceed to having an energy management system, or NMS, ENMS. And what is an energy management system? It is the process of monitoring, controlling, and conserving energy in a building or system. The energy management process starts with an energy audit of a given location. Like, the goal is to continue to find opportunities to improve efficiency. In other words, it's a cyclical thing. It has feedback. When you get to the end of finding an inefficiencies and correcting them, you will track the progress of the changes made, which is the most important part, and eventually this cycle restarts again. So you have a continuous and never changing, continuous and never ending improvement cycle, where you have an energy management system monitoring, controlling, and conserving energy. Now, don't think that it always has to be some big technical computer or something. You yourself in your homes, you can have an unconscious energy management system, which you now consciously put down for your families, and you are doing that. Now, for industry, we need carefully thought out energy management systems, and for that, you need the experts. But there are three parts to an energy management system. There's a technical part, where energy consuming devices and systems that use or convert energy efficiently or inefficiently are discovered. Then there is the organizational part. This is where we have the structures and management systems that can support or hinder the achievement of energy efficiency goals. And then we have the behavioral, which I need to happen, because even in your home energy management system, whatever you come up with, you need to understand that your personal values, your attitudes and practices of individuals in your home and in your organization impact energy use, and see how you can work on those things so that you can have a good energy management system and you are helping yourself. I'm not selling myself because this is not my business, but I'm hoping that you'll be using the services of our energy auditors and those who have expertise, more expertise than I have in these areas. So I said we'll talk about energy efficiency. I've been talking about energy efficiency as a way forward. What is it and why do we need it? Energy efficiency is the technology. I hope I'm not going too fast. Can someone please tell me I'm not going too fast?
Come on, you're not going too fast.
It's okay, ma.
Am I going too fast?
Following you.
Thank you.
Nope.
Thank you very much. What is energy efficiency? It is a technological solution for the reduction of energy loss in an existing system. In other words, it is an improvement in the practices and products which aids in the reduction of energy use, but still provides the same amount of service or useful output. This is, let's keep that in mind. I believe we're all engineers, so we understand the concept that energy is neither created nor destroyed. Energy efficiency is also using less energy for the same or increase. What happens is that when you have energy efficiency measures in place, you can use less energy for the same or even increased output. So why does it matter? Energy and efficiency has the technical potential to reduce industrial energy use by about 20% from a report of the International Energy Agency in 2013. It is also increasingly being recognized as one of the most important and cost-effective solutions for reducing energy greenhouse gas emissions in industry. So, energy efficiency gives you savings in one part of the system, which you can use in another part of your system. This could be a residence, a school, a hospital, anything. And it could be even our entire energy generation and delivery system. Did I hear someone say there are too many losses in that system? This is not where we can talk about that. The NIEEE is well able to take that up. Thirdly, with energy efficiency practices, we gain energy savings and energy efficiency savings. These are terms which I will try to define and clarify as we go on. So let's go to energy savings. What are they? Energy efficiency savings is the saving of energy. This is where I need our non-engineer and non-electrical engineers to pay attention. Energy efficiency savings is the saving of energy by increasing the energy efficiency of a technology or process by retrofitting or by replacing with more efficient equipment. A very simple example is when an incandescent light bulb is replaced by efficient LED lighting for an energy efficiency saving of 75%. So that is energy efficiency savings. The savings you make by increasing the energy efficiency of your energy system. Like my president said, we're talking about electricity. Yes, that's what we're talking about mostly, because that's the energy that we use for practically everything we do. We also have energy conservation, which is the saving of energy without increasing the energy efficiency of a technology or process. So we haven't done anything to increase the energy efficiency, but we use behaviorally, we turn off office lights. We conserve energy. We turn off office lights at night, as an example, when not needed. This is an energy conservation measure. Never mind the mistake there, please. That does not improve energy efficiency of a lighting system, but it gives you energy savings. So even without replacing your energy fittings, remember to turn off the lights at every time when you don't need them. So let's look at the different ways that we save energy when we have a good energy management system in place, whether it is formal or informal. The saving of energy through energy efficiency savings or energy conservation or both will help us to reduce our energy costs. Let's look at it again. When you turn off incandescent lights at night when not needed, it is an energy saving measure because it conserves energy. So we can conserve energy as one way of reducing our energy use and therefore our energy payments. The other one is we can replace the same incandescent light bulb is now replaced. That light fitting has an incandescent light bulb in it, but we replace it with a LED fitting. Doing that is an energy savings measure because it improves energy efficiency of the lighting system and therefore generates energy efficiency savings. If you do the two, that is replacing the light by LEDs, and also remember to turn the LEDs off at night when not needed, you are improving both the energy efficiency and conserving energy. You are improving the energy efficiency and conserving energy. These are some of the things which we can do as people. Now, I would have liked to stop here for questions, for a discussion before going on to the next one, but I will just let's finish. I have, as I was reading this particular report that I'm going to share with you now, I was imagining how this might help commerce and industry in Nigeria. Tunisia is promoting energy efficiency via a new 2.7 million project. The government believes that the project will lead to 80% energy savings. Now, this is the part that interests. Under the project, manufacturers will obtain a subsidy to replace current appliances with more efficient models. So, Tunisia is pushing energy efficiency by using government intervention. And I was just wondering, do you think this will help us? Do you think this will help commerce and industry in Nigeria? That's why I say it's a poser, but it's not for this meeting. I'm about to get to the end of this presentation because I've covered everything I said that I would cover. And here, I thought to myself, maybe it might help a little if we have a few simple energy saving tips for us, of course, you know, for anybody at all. And the purpose of this presentation is so that we can go back and think again. We've done a lot of talking, but we now have to begin to do. We can't throw up our hands in defeat. So this is my own small gesture. A few simple energy saving tips for all of us, especially with air conditioners. Those ones know how to guzzle energy. In case you're planning to buy a new air conditioner, check its efficiency rating. The higher the efficiency rating, the SER, the more efficient it is. And would you believe that a slightly smaller air conditioner is more efficient? This is because an oversized unit will cycle on and off more frequently. And every time it comes on, the starting current is quite high, sometimes as high as 7 times the rated current, sometimes 3 times. It depends on the unit you're using. And did you know that each degree you raise your air conditioner thermostat can save you 5% on energy? About 5%. That is, instead of putting it at 16 degrees, if you move it up to 17 degrees, you can save yourself about 5% on energy. Another thing is, please don't turn your aircon. You know this thing, it looked at my aircon that I was writing and changed it to air on. Okay, please just know it's my air conditioner I'm talking about. Don't turn your air conditioner thermostat up and down repeatedly. You are forcing your unit to continually readjust. And that will cost you money because each time it's readjusts, it's starting again. Check your air conditioner filter regularly to ensure it is clean to cut down energy waste. And direct sunlight reduces the efficiency of your air conditioner unit. Shade it if possible. So if you know, that is your window unit I'm talking about now. Especially your window unit. So if it is exposed to direct sunlight, if it's possible, just shaded. Now, what about your freezer? If your freezer is not a low frost freezer, defrost it when the frost is about 1/4 of an inch thick, because frost buildup decreases efficiency and makes your freezer work harder to maintain the same cooling temperature. Now, my challenge with this is I'm not even sure if I'm going to have electricity after I have defrosted my freezer. So I must confess to you that I need to make sure that I can run my generator for 24 hours before I take this step. I do take this step, but I don't know if I have gained much by doing it. But if it continues getting thicker, I think I would definitely gain something. Now, for your kitchen appliances, we know we have this habit of, see, I'm going to get something better than that person, or my friend just bought this 50-liter air fryer. I must get one. Small electric cooking appliances save more money than the bigger ones. So unless you're running a restaurant, buy the smallest toaster, fryer, and blender, which meets your family needs. In the long run, all those little savings will come to something. Now, in terms of ironing, there's actually a trick to ironing which saves you money, and that is you start with the delicate fabrics which need lowest ironing settings, then you progress to medium settings for silk and stuff like that, and then the high settings for cotton and linen. You don't need to be genius to work out why that is so. I'm sure we all know. And if you can, dry out your washing so that there are no creases. That way, you only use your iron sometimes. I won't go into lighting because I think we've mentioned some of those. And at this point, I say thank you for listening. When we share the slides, we shall share it with all the references and acknowledgements in it.
Engineer Zansi.
Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Ma.
Somebody
that was
something from there.
Whose name of this? Whose name of this names? Whose name of this? Oh no. No name for this name.
Thank you so much for your comments. I hope that we will take this beyond here. I've spoken with Engineer Kinwale, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to move this.
Mommy, I don't know what's about this name.
Okay, ma.
We need to be able to take this further, but for a start, I'm concerned about you and I, and we want to make sure that we're not spending more money than we should. It really bothers me, but I don't want to go into the politics of this power situation right now. Thank you very much, Engineer Zansi, Engineer Remy. I'm done.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you, Engineer Mrs. Funmilayo Kadri, FNSE, for such a wonderful presentation. This has been, in fact, I think we've only scratched the surface about the energy conversations that we have to start having. As I know some people have started dropping their emails in the chat box for a copy of this, but also please note that this recording will be live on the APWENE YouTube platform, so you can always watch it and replay it because it's, yes, okay. I'd like to also take this quick time to recognize the Deputy President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Tasiu Wudil, FNSE. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. So, in fact, if I start to recap.
Engineer Zansi, please permit me to welcome my Deputy President personally.
Okay, please go ahead, Ma.
Engineer Wudil, thank you so much for coming into this meeting because I know you're very busy. And I also suspected you would come here because this is something that is very dear to your heart. And you and I was in a meeting, an international meeting looking at metering and all that you are representing Nigeria. And I really appreciate your presence here. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ma. Welcome, sir. We really appreciate your presence here. We've talked about the access to energy, the consumption, the reliability. We've talked about the metrics that we need to be focusing on. We've scratched on so many things, you know, about consumption, about maximizing the little that we have, exploring energy efficient practices, and so much more. But at this point, okay, quite a number of people are asking for the slide. But at this point, we'd like to go into the Q&A. So I would like to welcome Engineer Remy to handle the Q&A session. Please, if you have questions, use the raise hand function or drop it in the chat box. Over to you, Engineer Remy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Engineer Zansi. Thank you, Engineer Kadri. That was a wonderful presentation. I mean, you gave us a lot of learning points, a lot of key things to do, you know, after this. And of course, like, okay, so we are an energy-rich country, but we are supposed to be an energy-rich country, and then we are living in energy poverty. What is causing this? And why do we always have the Nigerian factor in so many situations in the country? And how can we as engineers change, you know, the way things are? I would like to ask you a question first. Sorry, if anyone has a question, kindly raise your hand. I am going to unmute you, and then you would ask a question. But I have a question. I would like to know, and not only like to know, I think there is a lot that the government hasn't really done. And I know Engineer Woodil is here. And maybe while he's making his contribution, he may want to help us with that. I remember there was a time in the UK where there was a policy and they were phasing out some lighting, some kind of lighting equipment, and you could not use some kind of bulbs in the UK up till now. And I know that, you know, there's still been an improvement on this. In Nigeria, when you go to all these electrical shops, you still see 100-watt bulbs. I remember when I came into renewable energy, when we do audits for ceiling fan, it used to be 65 watts. Now you see ceiling fans of 150 watts in the market. You see ceiling fans of 200 watts in the market. So it's no longer like an assumption that, oh, if you go to a house and you want to audit you want to get, you know, the wattage of the ceiling fan, you actually need to check the ceiling fan to be sure of the wattage now. It is no longer 65 watts that it was some years back. So I want to know, it looks like people are progressing and we're kind of retrogressing when it comes to energy. So everybody is dumping all sorts of products in that are not energy efficient in any way. And I'd like to know, what is the government policy on this? You go to government buildings, you see a lot of wastage of electricity, which is the same thing that we all do at home as well. You know, when you close and you see a lot of shops and malls, I mean, their lightings are always on, in and out. And I'm like, okay, so what are we doing? The little, we say we don't have enough energy. Even the little that we have, we use it anyhow. So I'd like to know, what is the government's policy on energy efficiency, and how do we mandate it? How do we make it like a law, like other countries are doing, phasing out all these inefficient appliances, and then we are coming in more inefficient appliances. So that's so I've not seen any hand raised for, okay, all right. The energy efficient experts. Please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Engineer Remy. And thank you, Ma, for that wonderful presentation. Okay, while my engineer, or while we're waiting for Engineer Udil to join again, I'll just like to mention that on the government side, I work with the national government, to the Center for Energy Efficiency. So on the government side, there have been some initiatives and programs trying to improve energy efficiency. And, we worked on a number of, projects aimed at residential sector, the hospitality industry, industries. But I think some of the challenges with, promoting the message of energy efficiency has also been with the consistency in programs. There was also a time we had the Cuban government donated some CFLs to the commission, and we distributed them in residential estates. I went out on outreaches trying to encourage people and enlighten them on the benefits of energy efficiency, switching to energy efficient bulbs. But as it is, it's a very huge project to try to raise awareness for a population of about 200 million people. So that's where I think it's not just the government that has been mandated to encourage energy efficiency. I think a lot of private sector participants and in the public sector need to also come on board, make these things easier for everyone. I know in Ghana, they already have the laws in place where they've scrapped the use of incandescent bulbs, and nobody brings it into the country. They also have the legal rights. The commission can also go to like a port, check out shipping containers that have brought in inefficient appliances, all those second-hand appliances from other countries that are being dumped in West Africa. They have no place to come in through Ghana. So the issue now is it's not just about one commission or just the public sector. I think it's something that we all have to, be on board. National, state, even local governments, port authorities, the Standards Organization of Nigeria. There are so many players that need to be on board. So that was just my little contribution to this topic, that we all need to have everybody on board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Shola. Yes, I agree with you. Everybody is involved. It's supposed to be involved, as in all hands are supposed to be on the deck. I remember there was an installation that we did in Ibadan, and I mean, when all the lightings in the house were on, everything in the house was on. I mean, they were on a prepaid meter, and they were just wasting energy. And I was just like, you can't use your solar in this way. You're going to drain your battery in like 3 hours. This is a battery that's supposed to last you for maybe 24 hours, but it will not, because so I think all hands are supposed to be on the deck, and that's one of the reasons why we speak to young people, so that they can speak to their parents. Engineer Fola Shoboyejo, kindly unmute yourself and ask a question or make a contribution.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I enjoyed the lecture by my dear colleague, Engineer Kadri. If I should acknowledge everyone, including the APWENE president and Engineer Isigwe and Engineer Kiwole, to take time. My observation is that, policy and policy implementation in Nigeria is the issue. The policy design is easy. So that agency for energy efficiency must be packed with professionals who are doing their job, but enforcement and the penalty and so forth may be a factor, but we have to keep pushing. But I must just inject a little bright light from my observation on a visit to Nigeria. It must have been about 10 years ago. I was in one corner of Shomolu, and I saw a street light pole with LED panel on top of it. That was the time it was still being debated, even in Canada, to commercialize and popularize. And so I was impressed that there is such an initiative. But the problem, as we know, with the poor maintenance culture, even the ones on Allen Avenue that were the early starters, they all went out. So when you cannot see a demonstrated example, you will not be attracted as an individual to, look at options like LED and so forth. I was also impressed. It must have been about 15 years ago that I saw compact fluorescents that were being promoted by the same electrical merchants, and they were selling and people were buying. But the policy to actually move out of incandescent, if implemented, will make a lot of difference. So there are pockets of development and opportunities here that as individuals we can, take advantage of. Engineer Kadri has mentioned simple things as just switching off. In my energy and carbon management practice, the best thing is to just turn off what you don't need. And she was discussing with me some time ago, the project she's working on to have women be involved in assembly of photo sensors, and occupancy sensors, so that when you step out of a space, it will automatically switch off the light. Even at home, that is what we experience. We leave the lights on, we are in the sitting room, entertaining people from around 6 in the evening till about 10, and all the bedroom lights are on. The bathroom lights are on, whereas people just use the bathroom for about 5 minutes of their 1 hour stay in the house, and so forth. So this is a good job, and I think APWENE should continue to amplify these improvements that we need to develop the country. Thank you very much, APWENE. Thank you, Engineer Kadri.
Thank you so much, Engineer Fola Shoboye. There's a contribution in the chat room by Oluseyi Benro. Thank you, Engineer Funmilayo Kadri FNSE, for this wonderful presentation. I was thrilled to see how much improvement in energy savings we can bank from our attitude, selection, preferences, and deliberate activities as individuals. Thanks once again for this important message. So the person is saying thank you to Engineer Funmilayo Kadri for the presentation. Engineer Zansi, your hand has been raised. Can you unmute yourself?
Thank you, Engineer Remy, but I will let Engineer Kunle Adebajo go first, and I'll come through after. Thank you.
All right, Engineer Kunle Adebajo, kindly go ahead and make your contribution, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure why I've been given the opportunity to jump ahead of someone else. Thank you very much. Anyway,
is the white hair.
It must be. It must be. But she didn't see it at that time. Anyway, good morning. Thank you so much to our dear presenter, Engineer Funmi Kadri. And I recognize the various dignitaries in the House, particularly our president of APWENE, the deputy president of FNSE, etc. Thank you. It was a nice session. I will just make a few comments, though. I think the first one is that I know that in the presentation you mentioned poverty in an energy poverty in an energy-rich country. It was the paradox, but unfortunately, I think it should be adjusted to say in what should be an energy-rich country, because we certainly are not energy-rich. And so having said that, this issue of poverty, which is lack of access to energy, is a major problem. And it also makes one wonder whether it is worth talking about conserving when you don't even have much. We all know that a high percentage, maybe 100% of zero is unfortunately still zero. So I'm sure if you go to some communities and talk to them about bulbs and energy savings, they'll say, let us first see the energy, then we'll start saving it. But having said that, I was quite happy to see some of your tips, energy saving tips, because I think this is all about preserving in whatever way we can. I would add to it, for instance, your freezer. I would say you can save a lot of energy if you don't keep your freezer empty. So your ideal thing, even if you don't have the money to buy bulk meat and bulk whatever, just buy loaves of bread and fill up so that you don't have to be cooling down air. So that's an example of one. I also think we in this country, I don't know what building services engineers are doing most of the time, because you go into air-conditioned hotels and rooms and it is freezing. You start thinking you are actually in Europe or in Canada for that matter. But I think there are, apart from the tips you talked about with regards to the thermostat, I think even just mere things like closing doors, not trying to air condition an area that is totally open, issues like also energy. I know we are thinking about electricity, but even also using the way we use our cars, planning our trips, deciding on how not to accelerate and then decelerate and accelerate, etc. But coming to ask you the question, if there is a question to ask, I would say, what is the role, or what should be the role in this presentation of renewable energy, for whatever it's worth, sustainable energy, because we do know that we still talk about our oil and gas, but we really should be thinking now about sustainability, the preservation of of our planet. And you can see what has happened all over the world in the last week or so, particularly even here in Nigeria with floods, etc. So I'd just like to say, maybe I can't really coin it into a question, but I would say also, again, maybe if we don't have the energy, then maybe we're not destroying the environment. Maybe you should go to those playing games in America who are using up so much energy. But anyway, whatever you can make of the question, please answer. Thank you so much indeed. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer.
Thank you, Engineer.
Thank you, Engineer Kunle. The statistics show that the more than 1 billion people on the subcontinent contribute just 0.55% of the world's cumulative carbon dioxide emissions. Just 0.55% of it. So to that extent, we have not contributed anything, not even up to 1% of the carbon dioxide emissions. And I'm one of those who believe that we need to, renewable energy we should pursue, because we have solar irradiation enough to power. It's just that the technology is still expensive. And until we find a way, it's for me, it's almost like the chicken and the egg. Why are we not producing the arrays ourselves here? Why are we not doing that? We've discussed it, and at the time, my cousin and I, it was going to cost us 40 million naira. Adi, how much? Which we didn't have. To just set up a small unit to produce those the panels ourselves. So we need to continue to use. We need to apply as, for example, Nigeria, whatever they want to ask us to do for not using efficient renewables, I think they should reduce it, because we must use gas, even if we don't use oils. And we will use oils. We must use gas because we have so much of it, and we can use it in ways that are safe and clean. Now, I hope that answers some of the question. And I think renewables are part of it. The only thing is that using, when I talk of renewables now, I'm talking of things like solar. Geothermal is not really workable in Nigeria. When you look at the solar energy possibilities in different parts of Africa, geothermal is not really, is not one of the ones that we will recommend that we use in Nigeria. But solar, definitely. And then we can augment it with the grid, I guess, or with dirty fuel. But in terms of the carbon dioxide emissions, please, let's rest it. We are not part of the problem. So I am suggesting that we catch up by maybe meeting up with the 5% emissions, if that will get us to a place where we're competitive in the market. Thank you. Sorry, I still want us to go fossil fuels.
Okay, thank you, Ma. And I don't think there's even any country in the world that is 100% or renewable. It's always like a percentage of renewable, a percentage of fossil fuel. In addition to the tips that Engineer Adebayo and Engineer Kadri have given, I'd also like to add that there is something we call vampire loads. I'm sure we all know what a vampire is. They suck blood, literally. So there are loads that you actually put on in the house that you don't think that they are run over a number of hours, they are actually adding to. When you check your load profile and you check your energy profile, you find out that they are actually taking a lot, e.g. your television. If you're not using your TV, please turn it off from the switch. Don't turn it off and then you leave it on and you know that red button is still showing. It is hibernating. It is not completely off. It is a vampire load. Same thing with your decoder. You know, sometimes you like, okay, so I'm not watching the cable network, and then you know your decoder is sitting there. It is a vampire load. So any load that is not in use, just switch it off from the wall. It's as simple as that. So there's a contribution in the chat room by I don't know if it's an engineer, Tonia Imaswin. She says, thank you so much, engineer. Again, engineer Funmi. I just want to add that there is a need to have a deliberate change in attitude when it comes to energy saving, both at home, work, etc. We have to ensure that appliances not in use, lights, fans, ACs are turned off when not in use. We should also have our friends and family imbibe this learning at every point in time so that in the end, such attitude becomes an unconscious part of us and even our family and friends as well. The children and little ones are not left out in this. It depends on how we deliberately keep showing and telling them what, how, and why in terms of this energy saving. Thanks for the tips. Thank you so much, Engineer Tonia, for your contribution. Engineer Zansi, I think you can go ahead now.
Okay, thank you so much, Engineer Remy. Thank you so much, Engineer Kadri, for this. And in fact, it was wisdom that I allowed Engineer Funmilayo Adebayo go before me, because as a building services engineer, coming from another perspective, and this conversation as regards our energy poverty in Nigeria has been going on for a while. When we're considering energy crisis, starting from the production to the transmission, and as you've mentioned, the metering, consumption, efficiency as a nation, even auditing, and even policy. When we look at every single aspect, there is something that needs to be done in every part. It's not so, and I started to wonder, because I come into a building usually at the end of a project, when the project has been done. There is a limit to how much changes I can make, because when you're talking about energy efficiency in buildings, it even starts from the orientation of the building. That starts from the beginning, and we only come in at the end or even after the project has been concluded, and we can make a number of changes, but then you have to look at your KPIs as regards cost. Quite a number of changes that you want to make in terms of getting more efficient in your energy is, aside from the switch off policies and the ones that you just saw, but when you now want to make big changes, you start to incur costs. You have to weigh your costs. So I wonder if the energy problem in Nigeria is not actually an economy problem, because when I interact with people that in America, where they even have access to this energy, they are very more conscious in terms of consumption than we are. They mention it that Nigeria, we're consumers, we don't renew our waste. We don't recycle our waste. We're not bothered about that. We are voracious consumers. So is it not? And then you look at the UK, where you mentioned, where they had to cut off, where they had to cut off some bulbs. You look at it, some of those bulbs here in Nigeria cost more. We're not producers in terms of certain equipment and certain materials. So and you talked about policies. There are some policies where they even have reward policies in other countries, where you get certain points and rewards in terms of how efficient your building is. You get points, you get certain rewards from the government, you get certain tax holidays, and you get so many things. So is this energy crisis not directly linked to the economy as a whole? And that's where my concern or my question is.
I think Engineer Azizat Badigesi has said a few things about that. They're all intertwined. They're connected to one another: policy, implementation, and so on and so forth. And there's something that Engineer Adebayo said, which I think is also one of the reasons why Nigerians don't care. It's like, why are you telling me to conserve energy or be efficient when there isn't any? But the point here is that little that you are getting at the price you are getting it, maybe because the price is low, that is why we do what we do, because it's really quite low. But I don't think that it should go higher. I don't think I'm saying it should go higher, because even this service-based tariff that we supposedly have, some of us are luckier than others. I think I'm pretty fortunate where I live. We have energy most of the time. We rarely, it's only once in a while that we have problems, and it's because there's a fault on the system. So for me, energy conservation and efficiency is very important. However, I think we need to start somewhere. We need to break the cycle somewhere. So even if you're only having a little energy, just break it. And don't forget, the idea is that when you don't need energy, when you are not using energy, this energy that we say is so small, it might just be able to go a little further if our distribution system is also seen to. But let me tell you the truth. Actually, when I talk about a lot of these efficiency measures, ours is a small part. It is what needs to happen in the electricity supply system. It is what needs to happen there. It's just that because I'm not a politician, I cannot address them directly. That's it. I can't address them directly. We need to get people. I know that they may, in fact, I didn't want to get into this. We have a major problem. If you start looking at the history of power in Nigeria, you will go to Mambila Plateau. In fact, there are all kinds of things that you start. And if you start that, you're opening a can of worms. And I don't want to get into that. But I'm hoping that some of our colleagues who are in these systems will actually begin to to remember that they represent you and I. And let us begin to see the right things happen. Otherwise, we're all going to be hit. No matter how much diesel you can buy for your generator, even if you want to be 100% solar, there's some days that the clouds will cover the sun. So I'm really appealing to our colleagues. Many of them are not here, but some have been here and some are here. I'm hoping that we can take this beyond this and just, how do I say, be able to accelerate some things so that we can use more of our installed capacity. That is really my point. And we'll stop having losses. And not only that, we'll stop having discos rejecting the power that is willed to them and all that. Those are things which I don't understand. But there are people here who understand and they may be able to tell me when we finish this meeting. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Funmilayo. Thank you, Engineer Zansi, for your question. I'd also like to add that the cheaper, inefficient appliances usually don't last. From experience, they get damaged very quickly. I don't know, maybe it's because of their wattage or the energy that they're consuming, but they get, and maybe because also of their quality. I know that if you buy your normal LED box, they can last you for years, for more than 5 years. And then you can buy an incandescent bulb that you're going to fix immediately and it's going to burn out immediately or even in a few minutes. But just like you said, I mean, people don't even have that electricity, so they don't really see the reason why they should conserve it. But the essence of this meeting, I believe, is to educate ourselves so that we too can start passing it down, to others. Engineer Yetunde Olowe, kindly unmute yourself and ask your question. And then afterward, Engineer Nwakaigo, please, you unmute yourself and ask your question also. I think that's the last question that we have. Please, Engineer Yetunde, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you to my big sis for this presentation today. It's really wonderful. I had some insider knowledge, so I'm not surprised at the quality that has been delivered. I'm trying to show my video, I just cannot find that. But anyway, what I wanted to mine is more like a comment. And when listening to this and learning from it, I think that SDG 6, which is access to clean, affordable water and sanitation, is closely related, because a lot of the water that we use for drinking, utilities, whatever, is closely related to the power supply. They are inextricably linked. And in conserving, we need to really look at the water conservation. A few days ago, there was a video that went viral of women in, I think the country is Malawi, where they were using their cards to fetch water, which is, I think, excellent in terms of both water conservation and energy conservation. Because because it means that the water won't waste. The water only gives them a specific amount of water with the cards, whatever is on the card. So I just wanted to add that as a comment that in talking about conservation of electricity, that water is inextricably linked to it. And again, it goes to maintenance, which Engineer Kadri mentioned, that our maintenance culture needs to be worked on, because a lot of times you see pipes, leaking pipes on the roads, and other things that it's just waste. And once you're wasting water, you're definitely wasting electricity as well. Thank you very much. It's just a comment.
Okay, thank you, Ma, for that contribution. Engineer Nwakaigo, kindly, your hand was raised. I can't see the hand anymore.
Thank you very much, moderator. I want to appreciate Funmi. I'm not asking a question, but I'm adding my voice to the fact that we need to consider how we use what we have, including using water, light, anything, even on the road. Please let us sing it. Let's ring it if it is possible. That if you are not using light even in your room, as you're leaving your room, put it off. And when you come back, put it on. Thank you very much, moderator. Thank you for me for a good presentation. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma. Okay, so I think there's a question, there's a contribution in the chat room by Engineer May Nadetiba. She says, Fumi, wonderful presentation. You made it so simple, even for those of us not in the discipline. Well done, congrats. However, it baffles me that since the Lailimoke stroke engineer Shomolu's committee raised the energy generated, I'm sure Engineer Funmilayo knows about this, had always hovered around 4,000. Several years after then, and a lot of money invested, the needle has not moved from, of course, 4 gigawatts, which is sad in terms of conserving energy, particularly in the rural areas where they get mostly estimated bills. They become nonchalant about conserving energy. That is true, because they have been built heavily on this. Metering becomes very important. Advocacy is also very important. And yes, absolutely. And I think Engineer Zissat mentioned that earlier also. I think the government needs to do more when it comes to advocacy and policy and awareness, for the general populace about energy. And the government also needs to provide this energy, because to be honest with you, when there is no energy, you're not even encouraged to manage what you have. You're like, okay, so if they bring it now, maybe you're not seeing it for another week, and then so over to you, Engineer Zansi. Thank you everyone for the wonderful questions. I mean, it was very educating, and I think that was a very interesting time. Engineer Zansi, kindly take over.
Okay, thank you so much, Engineer Remy. But on this point, I will want to give the mic over to Engineer Funmilayo Kadri for her to address some of the people that raised comments and some questions, and then like her final notes. Thank you so much.
I thought that we had that Engineer Remy had addressed many of those comments. I want to thank everybody. Now, I would also like to say that I'm praying that we'll get to a place, hoping, if I say hope maketh not ashamed. So we get to a place where we can name and shame. Because what Engineer Mayen, my big sister, put on here is what disturbed me. As a matter of fact, when I was doing this research, specifically for this presentation, I kept telling my husband, I can't sleep. I can't sleep. I'm disheartened. And that is what she has put here, that after so many, Engineer Shomoli of blessed memory, he was the one who first got me interested in energy efficiency, Engineer Shomoli. But here we are, it hasn't moved. This money is going somewhere. So until we have, until we are able to actually, until there are some consequences. We all know that in Nigeria, there are no consequences. If there are going to be consequences, it's going to be for some small person somewhere. But it's time we get to a place where there are consequences for anybody, no matter how big they are, and we should start from the top. Most nations that have been able to come out of this kind of impossible situation, whether it is to do with energy or the economy, any kind of sabotage, they've done it by looking at the leadership and bringing out the bad eggs. Because a lot of young people today look at you and say, Mom, you see me, I'm just looking for how we get there. Not my own children. No. I'm just saying, they say, they call you mommy. Anybody calls you mommy. Mommy, I'm just looking for how we get there to go and chop my own. All this one you are saying is old school. So that is the part of the problem that I have not been able to address formally in this paper. We need to get to a place where we can name, shame, and bring to justice those who have brought us to this place. And we know them. The whole thing stinks. This is not a political arena, but I have come to realize that politics is so tightly intertwined with our being able to get out of this place, this pit, where we still find ourselves. How many years? 63 years or 61 years after independence. So my closing note is, I want us to please, one after the other, ask us to do right wherever we are. In your position, please just do right. And that's why we learned the ethics, the integrity program we did last October. Let's do right. We're still going to be coming up with another program on ethics and integrity. Let's do right wherever we are. And let's begin to call out, and let's ask government to back those, to support those who will bring out information, who will whistle blow that they're protected. And let's also make sure that our judiciary, let's fight for it, those who are lawyers, that our judiciary will be clean so that we can all get out of this place. Because it doesn't matter how much money you stash away, your children will burn it if you didn't get it the right way. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to my president for the privilege of being able to bring what is in my heart. And thank you, Engineer Fola Shogwejo, for mentioning my what is in my mind, that we can produce those things here. It's just been so difficult because everything is so expensive. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions and for having come.
Thank you, Ma.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma. On this point, I would like to hand over the microphone to Engineer Funmilayo Ojelade, the President, FNSE, President of the Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria, for presentation of certificate to our speaker. Please kindly unmute yourself, Ma.
Thank you very much, Engineer Zansi. And before I present the certificates, I would just also like to lend my voice to that, where he said our attitude concerning electricity consumption. I see that happening a lot in hotels. You go to a hotel, you are paid 56,000 or 90,000 for a room, and you feel that you have to leave the air conditioner on, even when you are not in. So people will leave their room and leave the AC on. I want the room to be chilled when I come back. So they leave it on for like 7-8 hours while they are attending a meeting downstairs and seeing friends. I think it's just, it's wasteful, and it's just not a good attitude. It comes out of a mind of revenge. You want to take revenge for having paid so much. And I just hope that one of these days, we're all going to learn to do well, because the bad things we do eventually come around to us, unfortunately. Before I go on, also, I'd like to recognize the presence of the immediate past president of APWENE, Engineer Dr. Felicia Nnenna Agubata, who is on the call. Thank you, Madam, for coming around. Engineer Manya Adetiba, one of our founding members. Engineer Idi Atamusu, the 4th president of APWENE. Engineer Dr. Patricia Openel-Dili, the 8th president of APWENE. And Engineer Wakego Juku, the 10th president of APWENE, and our JEGA. Engineer Dr. Iberi Otuaro, the wife of the deputy governor of Delta State. Maybe your husband is becoming deputy president now, you never know. Engineer Dr. Sunday Popola, the immediate past chairman of FNSE UK London. Engineer Uju Okusogu, one of our elders in the association. Everyone who is here is important, and we thank you all for coming around. On this note, I'm trying to look for the certificate now. Just a minute. Okay. I hope we can see my screen. Can we see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much. This is our honor code certificate presented to a well-deserving individual, Engineer Funmilayo Kadri, FNSE, for an excellent presentation on energy use in energy poverty, a webinar offered by APWENE, the online learning initiative of the Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria. Thank you very much, Madam. We are highly honored and we appreciate this presentation. Thank you, ma'am.
My president, Engineer Funmilayo the FNSE, I thank you very much, and I thank APWENE, and I also thank the BESCOM committee for putting this together. They've done very well. If you permit me, I want to thank all my past presidents who are here. I was not able to see them. That's Engineer Felicia, Engineer Patricia, Engineer Wakego, Engineer Nkechi. I think there's another one who was here.
Engineer Idiot.
Engineer Idiot. Sister me. Thank you, everybody. And especially I'm grateful that we got the number of people that we got. It's at such short notice. God bless you all, and God bless Nigeria. Thank you for the certificate.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma. As we're about to bring this to a close, I'm going to hand over to Engineer Nimot for closing remarks. Please remember that the recording of this session is available on our YouTube platform, APWENE HQ. Please subscribe. You can watch a live replay of this session. Also, please go over to the APWENE website, www.apwene.org, to keep up to date on everything APWENE, anything that is coming new for APWENE. It's going to be a very interesting time. So over to Engineer Nimot for closing remarks. Thank you. Engineer Nimot, please.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer Zanzi. It's been an amazing and cool. Thank you also, Engineer Remy, and the rest of the BESCOM committee for putting this together. I'm happy to be part of the committee as well. And to our mommy, one of our founding members, Engineer Kadri, FNSE, I say a very big thank you. It has been a well thought through presentation and also an eye opener for quite a number of people who are unfamiliar with the program. And based on the comments and then contribution, it's been very engaging. And to our very dear APWENE president, Engineer Funmilayo the FNSE, who set the ball rolling, I say very big thank you for your leadership. And I mean, the various work we do for us in APWENE. And in no particular order, I would like to appreciate everyone who had made this a success from their various contribution, participation, warm wishes. I say very big thank you. The Deputy President of NSC, Engineer Wudil, thank you for coming. The wife of the Delta State Governor, I say very big thank you. To the second APWENE President, Engineer Nkechi, thank you very much, Ma, FNSE. The fourth APWENE President, dear Mommy Amosu, thank you so very much, Ma, for always being there for us. The eighth President, Engineer Dr. Felicia Penel-Dili, I say very big thank you for your participation. The 10th APWENE President, Engineer Wakego Ojukwu, FNSE, thank you, Ma. I also cited my dear sister, our immediate past president, Engineer Felicia Gubata, FNSE. Engineer Dr. Felicia Gubata, FNSE. I say very big thank you for your participation. I also cite quite a number of the National ESCO and the secretariat, our secretariat support staff. I say very big thank you for your support, and for all our members and our well-wishers. I cite quite a number of them. Engineer May Tiba, one of our founding members, FNSE. Thank you, my Engineer Ju Kusogu, FNSE. I saw you. Thank you very much, ma, for your comments. The Women in Engineering Chair, Engineer Yetunde Olu, FNSE. Thank you very much, ma, for your contribution. Engineer Margaret Bufala, FNSE, who was the APWENE secretary in 1996. Those are the giants that we ride on their backs. We say very big thank you. Professor Adisa Bello, thank you, sir. Mr. Folash Shuboijo, I say very big thank you for making this a wonderful session. Engineer Kule Adebajo, the past president of NI-T, and my boss, the chairman of Uberco and Partners Nigeria Limited, I say very big thank you. Engineer Tonia and the Engineer Azizat, Engineer Dr. Mrs. Azizat Sholag-Badigeshin, thank you very much for your contribution. They were quite insightful, and it shows how well you've contributed to the energy industry. Like Winston Churchill said, that this is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning. So we're actually just starting, and from all that has been said, we as individuals, we have quite a lot to do. Like the APWENE president said, that sometimes the way we do things, I know some people that they also get crazy bill. They tend to buy all various kind of energy consuming appliances because they are paying a lot for the little they are consuming. But like it has been said, there's quite a lot that is going on. I have the opportunity to work with the C40 Energy Group on a energy technical assistance program for Lagos State. And the aim of this is to develop a roadmap through the embedment of 3 gigawatts renewable energy into the system in Lagos State. And the aim is to reduce energy demand, I repeat again, reduce energy demand and improve energy supply. And then some of the things we did were assessment of the existing supply, the state of the aging infrastructure, because this is also critical. We were talking of energy efficiency. Sometimes a certain amount is generated and very little gets to us. We also look at energy audits. There are quite a number of frameworks that support energy audits, but they are not being implemented. So with that, we'll be able to look at the need versus supply of various users. That's why you see a barber that just want to power a clipper for a user, putting up like a 5.5 kVA generator, and you wonder why this is so. So all those were done. And then we also, for some of us that knows, Lagos State also have pilot schemes for schools, about 112 schools and then 8 healthcare centers where renewable energy are being used to power. So there was actually a case of audit of what do they need, what can we supply, and then what system can we put in place. Then also we spoke a lot about tax holiday, and this is being considered also, and the stiffer penalty for energy theft. These are the various things that were being considered, but sometimes I realized that some of these things are being done in silos. We've had this discussion from what the various contributions we've had. People are also doing things in silos, let me put it that way, because sometimes when you even look at the various government ministries, you realize that in Alausa, for instance, there has been a lot that has been done. So those of our colleagues that are working in Alausa will tell you that they normally have power 24/7 in the Lagos State government secretariat. These are pilot schemes that are being done, and then there are policies that are in place that are not being enforced. So sometimes you really ask yourself, is it a case of reward system or penalties or the capacity, or we don't have the required skill sets. So in a nutshell, we've all done very well. We've made a very wonderful contribution. And I would say we need to create our own change talk, which we've started. We need to go beyond the various discussion. In our circle of influence, we need to walk the talk and then see what are the value chain we can implement in our own immediate environment. I'm sure if we look at our own immediate environment and they notice that we normally have lights, they will come and want to replicate us. And before we know it, we have a full community. It's been a very wonderful session. I thank everyone for our various contributions. I'm equally excited, and I've also improved my knowledge in terms of energy use and efficiency. So I wish us the very best for the rest of the weekend. We should stay safe in terms of COVID, and also stay safe in terms of the election in this part of the world. Very pleasant weekend, and I say thank you till we meet again.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. 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 Thank you. I want to say hello to Engineer Margaret. Please, can we unmute everybody?
So we can unmute and
good afternoon, Auntie.
Vierelu herself. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. I'm preparing
Stop
for
the recording. Who is recording?
I have 3 presentations next week, back to back.